We're gonna get started. So the first thing, before anything else, I want to share what I've been studying these last few weeks specifically. Because this is the thing, right, that's going to define the next years of your business. Now, most of you right now, you all have a system, right, that you follow to be able to generate leads, whether it comes down to like a story sequence or whether it comes down to like specific reels, whether it comes down to generating calls. But the thing is, you don't have a system for generating money. So there's Herman. Herman is here as well. I'm very nice. Herman is here. And the thing I want to talk about today specifically is the ability to turn like attention into actual money. Because we all have followers, we all have engagement, we all have likes and views, but most likely, most people don't actually make like the desired money that they want to make. And that's a problem, right? For the next 2 hours, I'm going to walk you through the system, the same system. And some of you will recognize it as we go. Some of you won't see it until the end, and you'll realize it later on, or maybe when you wake up tomorrow morning. Now, either way, by the time we finish today, you'll be running it on your own audience. Before we go into the system, let's name the problem, right? Because every business runs on two things all the time. It's traffic and conversion. I'm very curious actually to hear who has seen my story sequences and reels and YouTube videos and all that stuff. I think everybody, right? And there's most likely like one thing specifically that made you convert. So there's like one thing that you really liked, whether that's my YouTube videos, whether that's could be WhatsApp conversations with Herman or Chris or any setting process. It could be the stories, it could be the highlights, it could be anything. Even the testimonials. I have most testimonials with most of you guys here. The traffic is how people find you. The conversion is how they decide to pay you. So the thing with these two things is that both are content jobs. And I think that most people don't really understand how to separate them both from each other, right? Like when I ask you right now, if you create content, you're like, what for content do I need to create to get traffic? And what do I need to do to actually get buyers? That's a different thing. And I think when I ask you guys that question, you most likely don't have an answer on it. And that is a problem. Because if you start creating content, and you do this for a longer time, everybody's done it for years here. The problem is that you don't know if your content is optimized to get views and engagement, which is very important. Same as important as conversion to actually get buyers, right? But both require different content, right? The problem is you've been trying to kill two birds with one stone and fulfill both jobs at the same time. Because what people think content needs to do is that it needs to do two jobs at the same time in every single piece of content that you create. Whether that's like a reel, whether that's like a YouTube video, whether that's like anything, right? And sometimes you see that you can create a lot of traffic from any specific content piece, and sometimes you don't. And today I want to really talk about how you can segment these things to understand what for type of content to create and what type of content gives what benefit. Because like my brand is like pretty much optimized for conversion, right? Like I talk about conversion more than I talk about like views, or I talk about like traffic. But you need fucking both. If you don't have both, like what are you gonna do, right? You're not gonna have any leads, you're not gonna have any engagement. That's why your followers don't pay. Let me show you the math, right? 10,000 followers, it sounds like a real audience. Now you ask yourself the question, how many of them actually like genuinely know your name? Because the interesting thing, same with Herman, like the clients that we onboard, we have clients that come on board that have like an insane amount of followers. And they make an insane amount of money, but we have also people with like 200, 300,000 followers that don't make any money. But at the same time, people with like 2,000 or 3,000 followers that make like 50 to 100 grand a month. And that's insane because the conversion matters in this part. Not your handle, your name. How many know what you actually do? Because who here is like a business coach? Mark, Conrad, myself, right? The interesting thing about like our specific role is that people never understand what we actually do, right? Do we help them with offers? Do we help them with like acquisition? Do we help them with conversion? Is it like helping them get more sales? It's like fucking like annoying to understand what we actually do. So for people like us, it's very important to define one specific thing and find one angle, right? That's very important. Keep that in mind for later. Now, how many trust you enough to send you money? I want to talk about one thing, because you can trust a person, right? Sometimes you see one of somebody's content and you trust that person. You've seen testimonials, you've seen everything you need for you to believe that this person can help you make a transformation. The problem is, sometimes you're not clear on how that person that you want to invest in can help you get that person to the next level. So the problem is, sometimes you see my content and you're like, okay, cool, I trust Nik, I believe that he can help me, he's an expert, like you see everything. That's not the problem. The problem is, you don't understand how I can help you get to the next level because you don't have clarity on, for example, the offer, right? Or any sort of process of the game plan that we're going to work on in a period of 6 months. And that's where Herman comes into place. So understand that sometimes people have trust, people love what you do, they like you, everything is fine, right? The thing is, if they're not clear on how you can help them get to the next level, they will never buy. And I think that's super important. And it's Herman's job to show them that vision, right? Because sometimes if you're creating content, I think I talked about with Ibrahim yesterday, if you're creating content and you know what you picture, that idea in your head that you want to create, it becomes very easy to create the content. You're just like you're going with the flow, you have the ideation, you get the camera on, you just start recording. But if you don't have an idea, then you record, you struggle, you need to re-record, it becomes a big problem. You see where I'm coming from? And that's like very, very annoying because then ultimately you spend so much time on something that will not give anything. Do that math out loud. The numbers get small fast. Let's do a calculation, right? So let's say you have 10,000 followers. Maybe 3,000 actually know you. A follower doesn't mean somebody knows you. It's like a view, right? You have an importance in each metric. So like, for example, a follower is more valuable than a view. And you have a customer is more valuable than a follower. A partner is more valuable than a customer. You see where I'm coming from? Maybe 800 actually genuinely know your full name. This is very interesting. Who saw my Miro videos back in the day? Like I think everybody knows, right? That didn't give me a lot of traffic, but it gave me a lot of like powerful people that are my exact audience that I need for me to be able to scale and make more money. And that doesn't mean that I grew my brand very fast because it took a long time. But who has recently seen these lifestyle videos where I just sit down, cross legs with like the nice music and a nice background and everything? That is a strategy that gave me a lot of views, right? It gave me a lot of views. It worked really well. And the conversion in terms of buyer potential went down. Meaning, I get a lot more traffic, I get engagement. The only thing that I want you to understand here is that it gave me a lot of brand credibility. Because when I get followers at my level, people know that I grow my brand. So the intention behind why people paid us is not because they liked that specific video or because I touched like a pain point in that video. It's specifically because they saw my brand grow. And if there's one thing that I want you to understand, people want to become part of something that works, right? Sometimes you maybe follow someone, right? Like you had most likely all a period where you followed me and you checked every single story. You checked every single like reel or every single YouTube video. You figured out my grow acquisition page and everything. And then 2 months later, you maybe didn't do anything. You didn't really care. Maybe you saw a story here and there. And that moment where you're really in depth doing research on certain people is where you're most likely to buy. Because like tomorrow I'm going to speak about this as well, a very important point, is business is all about timing. It's about timing. So you have to understand, there are leads in your audience right now, like genuinely right now, that want to pay you. You just don't know, right? And they're most likely 90% there. The thing is, you don't understand who it is. Could be any of your followers. And you need to just say the right thing at the right time right now to get these people to book in a call with you. So today I also want to talk about the importance of what you're missing out on without you even realizing it, right? Like how many calls do you book? It's great. How many people don't convert? It's great. You have all the data, or you at least have an idea, right? The problem is you have no single clue about the amount of people that have the thought in their head of paying you but didn't do that. You see what I mean? And I think that's very important as well. And throughout the moments you create more content, you slowly get to figure out the actual data of what's needed to do to get these people to convert. Maybe 100 people trust you. You have no single clue, right? That's what you're trying to figure out. But the problem is that 18 people actually are the people that are going to pay you. That last gap is where you lose money every single day. Let's take a closer look. Look at your last 10 reels. Everybody here created reels, you know. Hook, the cut, CTA, to nothing, right? Built for the algorithm. Built for someone who doesn't know you exist yet. And that's the right job. Traffic content is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And that's normal. That's how it works. Like, we should accept it. Like, it's something that people most likely are. It's like always like fucking like, do I do ads or organic? Do I do traffic or conversion content? It's like you need everything, right? It's super simple. But it was never going to get you paid. A stranger doesn't pay strangers. They follow first. Now, look at the other side. Look at your story sequences. Look at your lead magnets and everything that you create. Look at the bottom of the funnel post. I want to talk about this one thing that I implemented recently. And actually, in all honesty, I got it from Alex Sermosi. Very, very powerful one. We made a lead magnet that is fully customized. So who here is lead magnets? How do they actually perform?
I copied you so right.
Sorry?
I copied you so right.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Mark?
Really good.
Really good?
Basically, we analyze what to do. You give us the bottleneck, and we give you a personalized
There you go.
answer.
Exactly. So the beauty about, and the reason why lead magnets don't work is because you just give them like a fucking PDF or like whatever it is. It's something generic, right? Like people don't care about it. That's the reason why it doesn't work. So the fun fact is we did research and we applied it to our own market where we have the ability to get people to convert. So there should be another guy here. I'm not sure, is it Phil, right? You remember, he's coming tomorrow. He's coming tomorrow on the mastermind for the one day. And he came in, I think 2 weeks ago through a lead magnet, right? Around 2 weeks ago. And the fun thing about this is he saw all the content that we created. It wasn't enough to become a customer and to convert. But what we did with that lead magnet is we positioned it in a way where he touched his exact pain points so we were able to convert him. I'm gonna explain this right now. When you have one lead magnet, right, you have options to send people to different directions. So what we do is when people get to the website, they fill in 3 questions. How much do you make? Like there are 3 questions. So how much do you make? What is your desired situation? And what do you currently do, niche-wise? Based on the questions answered, it's very funny. They're gonna get to their stage, right? So let's say you're making like 10,000, 20,000 a month. You get directed to stage 1. When you make 30 to 40, you get directed to stage 2. And so these stages come with specific pain points. People that are doing, let's say like 300 grand a year, they have similar problems. Most likely people that are starting out, the only thing that they desire is traffic, right? And the fun fact about all of this is we sell people what they want and we give them the solution that they need. So think about that. Are you currently giving people what they need or are you currently giving people what you think they need? That's a different thing, right? Because we talk about, and this is the same thing, it's like we talk about market saturation all the time, like everybody here knows the profile funnel. I talk about my own things repeatedly, so I always get that specific word back into my marketing. And this is the thing, like if I do this for a week, like I get tired of it. It's like always the same words, it's the same language, it's the same type of videos, but the actual thing that matters is your audience doesn't see things as in depth as you do. Like that's super important to understand. Meaning if something in your brain confuses you, right? Because you've said it so many times, like over and over again, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have that thought of like, fuck, like what am I doing? Like I'm doing this, I'm saturating this word, right? Because you hear the same things in your own mind like fucking 1,000 times a day. So the beauty at that point is you need to be so extremely smart around the fact that you need to keep saying the same shit even though it's boring for you. Because for your audience, it's not boring, right? It's like you just keep going and say the exact same shit, and it's like at a certain point, you get numb to the pain of saying these words. You want to understand like how fucking annoying it was to say the word the profile funnel. Like after like 2,000 times, right? But yeah, but it's necessary. Because if I focus on something, and for me, it's like a 10x multiplier because I hear it every single day. For any of my clients, it could be a 3x multiplier because they see it in a course, they see it in the group calls, this and that. For a random viewer that sees you whatever, once every week and doesn't really care, it could be like a 50x, right? They need to hear the same thing for 50 times until that person is actually in the same state that you are the moment you hear it once. You see where I'm coming from? It's very important to understand. Because when you understand this, you start to get into a flow within your marketing. When you constantly repeat things, like people start to believe that that's the solution that works, right? And I think that is very important. Meaning, if you have an idea and you test it, you need to do it long enough, consistently, to understand if it works or not. Because guess what? Imagine it's like tired in your own mind, right? You're like, fuck, I said this so many times, it's like, whatever, it's not worth it anymore. I need to do something new. The only problem here is that your audience is just at the starting point of understanding it. So if you change, because in your mind it's like saturated, you start over and over again. So you never build that brand credibility and the actual audience that's worth it, right? Because the only reason a loyal audience is built is by trust. And trust is built by repetition. It's like doing the same thing and proving to other people that you can do the same thing over and over again. If I have a testimonial with Mark or Ibrahim or Amr or Conrad, it's like, what did I help them do? It's not one person I helped with X, one with this system. No, they all got successful because of the profile funnel, right? So Herman hops on a sales call with someone. It's like, oh, you're an Airbnb coach? Oh yeah, we have like 2 people that did the exact same thing. They got to 200 grand a month, and look at here, the situation. It's super easy. But I think most of this is all in your own mind. This is the conversion, content. This is what the people already watching are waiting for. This is what closes them. 3 years ago, I was earning around 30 grand a month. So this was like in the beginning of 2023 in June, maybe like I would say April, May now. That's exactly 3 years ago. And my profile looked like this. There he is, right? So you can see the situation now and the situation compared to the current situation. So it's interesting to see because I think it's lovely to show this. Not a lot of people know the situation. Who knew me back here? I'm curious. Yeah, you know, obviously. A lot of people did. Okay, that's great. So now, today, we do 500K plus every single month. We hit our record month in February. This month we do a little bit lower. We're like consistently at 450 to 550. And we have 174 followers with everything that we've done over the past like 3 years. Now, truth be told, you don't need to reach more people. At least, in all honesty, like most of you don't at all. You need to convert the ones who already know you exist. You've been making content for months or years, and you can't tell anymore whether what you're actually making is any good. I'm going to explain you why and exactly what to do about it. You think it might take you 6 months, maybe even 90 days to solve the problem. I want to invite you to my 2-day in-person workshop. And let me be very clear, this is built for someone specific. You've put in time, you've put in money. And even though you might get traction in followers, almost none of it is converting into the kind of sales you've ever imagined when you started out. Or maybe it was, and you hit a ceiling recently that you can't seem to crack in any form of place. You're at a stage where one of these 6 steps is currently the bottleneck in your content. You either have the wrong positioning, most likely you don't even know what the word means, that's the problem. You have a profile that doesn't convert. You might have great copy, but no idea about formats. You lack content to cash funnels, or everything might be working, but you lack the team, you lack a creative director, you lack editors, you lack a strategist. Maybe your content just works, but you don't have the system to actually distribute it efficiently. You don't need 6 months or 90 days to solve these problems. The 2-day in-person workshop will clear that path and give you the clarity you've always been looking for. Can't wait for you to finish this video. Let's get back to it. I made a video about this recently on my YouTube channel. I want everybody to watch it. Who sometimes has like the thought of switching the niche, or you're like, you know what, I'm in a niche, like I'm not sure if this is it, Christy. Yeah, I know. So you have that thought constantly, like, fuck, you know what? Maybe there are not enough people in my niche. Maybe my niche is already saturated, or maybe people have like not enough money in my niche. Like I need to switch it. Just please do one thing. It's free, or at least it's like $100 a month. Go to Claude.com, type in, or do like a voice note with whisper flow. Say like, I'm in a niche. How many people are in my exact niche? What do you do? Explain that. Claude has like general knowledge on the ability to see how much people are in your niche. Do this. Because you'll break your thought pattern immediately and you see that you've been lying to yourself for like ages. All the time. Because it's all in our own mind. So the fun fact here is ask it exactly. Write it down. Say like, how many people are currently in my niche? How many people are doing what I do? And how much money has been made in this niche? Are you going to get an accurate answer? I can promise you you're not going to get an accurate answer. But I can promise you that the answer that you're going to get is more accurate than the answer in your brain. You see what I mean? And when you get that thought into your brain, it's going to be easy to keep doing what you're doing because you know you're doing the right thing. And I tell this to my team all the time, like we have a very great team, great culture. The fun thing about what we do is we always do like the boring shit for long enough. And when things are not working, when things are not working is the moment most people start to figure out how it works. Everybody starts to spend their attention on figuring out why it not works, and they start to scale, right? I do the exact opposite. So what we do is when things are working out, sometimes you have that flow when things are doing well, right? You have that feeling of like, you know what? Okay, cool. I got another client. I hit another record month. Like I'm growing. Everybody had that feeling. No matter if you got your first $2,000 client or if you're making millions, doesn't matter. It's just for your mind, your own wins. The beauty about this is that most people slow down when things go well because it's comfort. Other people, they start to actually gain traction and put all their attention and work into something that doesn't work because they want to make it work. And I think the secret is this. Business goes in ups and downs. It's not always great. Everybody is always like, you know what? Like, okay, cool, I'm starting business, I'm doing X amount of revenue, and then I do this, and next year I'll go here. Oh yeah, in like 4 years I'm doing this. No, it goes like this, it goes down. It could be in fucking 3 years you're making less than you're currently doing, right? And it's not a negative thought. That's just a realistic thought to understand how you can build stability in your business right now. The way to solve this is when you feel like something is working super well, you should go like all in. When you got that first client, like fucking get another one. Like go all in. Don't pause ever until it stops. Because this is the thing. We're always like selfish and say like, oh, it depends all on ourselves. But the market is dependent on it, right? Our Instagram accounts is dependent on it. What if Facebook decides to block you one day? What are you gonna do? Like, I'll be fucked. Like, what am I gonna do? You know, I have my recurring revenue from my clients. It's the only thing I have then because new traffic is done. So realize that thought and know that that is something that can happen, right? And otherwise you'll experience it yourself at a certain point because nothing is always going upwards. You're only going upwards when you're constantly improving everything that you're doing and you're looking at your company's data and you're constantly taking next steps. So I talked about this to Ibrahim this morning. I was talking about the team. And I said like, there are months where we make less than we made the prior month. But we learn more because internally we feel like we made progress together. It's like the amazing team calls. We're like, yes, we got this figured out. Now we know how to move forward. So growth isn't measured by the amount of money you make. It's measured by the ability to understand how the team is moving, right? Because stagnation is like the worst thing. That's why you all paid me, right? For me to have the ability to make sure you guys don't stagnate. So you can keep moving all the time. Whether sometimes it's a lot of money or not, sometimes maybe you lose everything, like that doesn't matter, it's not the point, it's just growth. So those are already halfway on their way to your wallet, these clients, these customers. But most of you aren't leveraging it because nobody told you it was a different job. So you kept making reels and wondered why the DMs stay quiet all the time. Who has like a lot of reels and a decent amount of traction, but the DMs are quiet? Who has experienced that in their business journey? Good amount of people. Let me show you an example. Imagine someone followed you like 90 days ago. They like one of your reels. They hit follow. They've watched 30 more reels since, and maybe a YouTube video or anything like that. But they still don't know whether you can solve their problem or not. And this is the thing I want to refer back to, because most of the time, the problem is not explaining more. And it's not the fact of them needing more values. Sometimes people see your reels and they're already converted. They already want to pay you, right? The problem is that they don't have clarity on something. The only thing that you think they need is a longer form YouTube video with way more information and way more in-depth information. But the only thing they need to see is like, for example, it could be an offer doc, right? With like an explanation of, okay, what do you actually get? Or it could be a transformation. This is the most valuable thing. It's like, show them the end destination. Show them how it would look like for them. Mark and Conrad, one of our biggest pain points is, does this work for my niche? It's like, I think half of you that paid had the question, does this work for my niche? It's the only question. It's not that I need to show them another like 2-hour YouTube video or something, or like a fucking like 6 hours of testimonials. They're already done. They're already ready. It's like, as simple as, does this work for my niche? And I want you to understand that many of these points always lie in the most simple fucking questions. It's like the most simple questions is always the answer to getting more buyers for what you desire. You know what I mean? Now, they will not pay. So they will eventually unfollow, because it's all about timing. So when a lead is interactive right now, like it's like engaged with your brand right now, he's ready to pay like now or in the upcoming 7 days. The thing with people is that they change their mind every single day. They get new input from people. They listen to new stories. Meaning it changes. So their perspective changes. So you need to close the right person at the right time. It's the only thing that fucking matters. You will never know. And you will never know they were there. This is happening on your profile right now, as we're sitting here. Traffic, content gives you feedback. You can see it. Views, likes, comments, and engagement, saves. Conversion content doesn't. Nobody likes your story sequences. Like, you have to understand, right? Most of the time, the people that like your stories are the exact people that will never pay you. Just know. Meaning, and this is something so fucking important. I think I told it to you, Christy, like on our call. I don't know, I'm not sure. But the thing is this. You have an audience of let's say you have an audience of 100,000 people. There will for sure never be more than 5% that would ever buy anything from you. You need to accept that. 5% conversion rate on an audience, then I would be a billionaire now if I would sell a 10K program or whatever, right? You get the point, whatever, 500 million. Now, the thing is, just accept the fact that more than 5% would never buy from you. It's like normal, like 1% is already very, very good, right? Then I would already have 2,000 customers, like students or partners, clients. Now, when you realize that, what mostly is happening is if you don't have a proper process of gathering feedback from people, this is what happens. Let's say you create a YouTube video. 95% of your audience responds and likes and engages with your stories. Your buyers never ever do that most of the time. Your buyers aren't the people that like, they don't save, they don't do anything. Right? Meaning, if you look at your YouTube and you look at your Instagram and you start to scroll through everything and like trying to figure out like what the feedback is that you want to gather from these people, you look at the likes, you look at engagement, you look at the wrong data. Because the 95% will never ever buy from you. Meaning you're listening to advice and feedback from people that will never pay you. And why did we create our profiles in the first place? It's to have the ability to get payments. So let's say you don't get a lot of engagement. And you make that one reel, right? And somebody that will never pay you says something, right? That catches your eye. You're taking that feedback so serious. And your whole life depends on just that feedback. Meaning you're worrying about that. If you only have that as one input, you'll make that reality in your own mind. So you have to learn, right, yourself to have the understanding of knowing that you don't constantly need to take that feedback in. Now, who are then the right people to ask? You guys, for me. Like everybody here. If I ask, because you're the buyer, you're the person that actually handed over the money. It's the people that took the action, not the people that said certain words. Does that make sense? Who has questions about this, specifically? Perfect. Nobody comments on your email, right? On your open rate. So you optimize for the signal you can't see. The wrong one. The algorithm rewards you for volume. Like, this is also like a thing. People always talk about this. Like, when I create content, like, should I do volume or quality? And now Instagram algorithm is optimized to post more and more. Sure, you should post more. Like, fuck that. It's like the 5% that you should focus on. So when people tell you, yeah, Instagram just got a new feature that if you do this, you should focus on this, and then you're gonna change your whole branding and post like 5 times a day, you fuck everything up. It's like, don't listen to that. Like, understand what's important. I can promise you, even with me, you're doing 100% of the work, and I can guarantee that 20% of the things that you're doing deliver 80% of the actual results. That's 1,000%. That's like in life, right? We waste so much time. And I think it's important, if you want to scale and you want to make more money, you figure out like what you should spend time on and what not. That's like truly important. The algorithm rewards you for the volume. Your bank account doesn't. Here's the reframe, right? You can see the reels on the left side and the story sequence on the right side. And I think most of you already know this, but there's a different intention behind everything. So for example, the left side, posting reels, builds the audience. The right side, story sequences, closes them. Who doesn't run story sequences consistently? Why?
Because one thing you said earlier is don't expect people to like them. Because I was looking at how receptive are people from it, and I think I spoke to someone about it. I think it might have been Mark, but they were like, post them regardless because you're not going to see that feedback. But
Exactly.
in their mind, it will 1%, 1%. Like, I probably viewed 5 to 7 of your story sequences, and then I was like, all right, I'm ready. You know?
Yes.
Without liking them, without sending you a message, like, so that makes sense.
And a fun fact is that a lot of people, I always get the question, but Nick, I don't get views, right? Like, we don't build story sequences for views. We build it for our credibility. The biggest form of credibility is the understanding of knowing that people can backtrack my success. Some people like me, some people hate me, some people think I earned the right to be here, some people don't. That doesn't matter. The only thing that they know for sure, for 1,000%, is that I've been consistent, I've been posting for 3 years, I shared everything of my journey. That is more valuable than any of the client results I have with all of you. Trust me, because people know people know that there's a certain level of expertise that is 1,000% right. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to fill up a room with 20 people here in Marbella and everybody flew out. It's like impossible, right? Like, how I want to fake that. And that's important, right? Because that's the actual credibility that comes with it, which makes it so believable. So that's very, very important. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about the differences of the actual story sequence that you can run. Stop trying to do both with one piece of content. The people who pay you are not the people who once stumbled upon your reel. It are the people who can wait to see your daily story sequence every single time. They just won't express it. They just won't share it. So now you see the gap. Let me walk you through every single asset that does the conversion job. Now, do me a quick favor. Open your last 10 posts. I actually want people to do this. Please do this. It's very important. For each one, what was that posted to get a follower or to convert into a buyer? I think most of you actually don't even have an answer on this question. So I'm curious to see like what your perception is on this. You don't need to give me any answer. You just need to look at your reels and look at them, even when you're home, look at them and realize like, okay, wait, if I would look at this, would I actually pay or would I engage or would I like, right? And ask other people about this. Like, after this is done, sit down, go through each other's reels and ask, what is my perception on this? Because everybody here in the room has actual real value to share. Your fucking follower, your 167,000 follower doesn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So use this time. You paid for this, use it, right? If you can't tell, so if you don't know how to answer the question, that's the fucking problem. You have a big problem. Let's get into what conversion content actually is. There are exactly 5 assets that do the job, right? When it comes down to conversion. So how do we get a follower into a customer? Every dollar I've collected came through one of these 5 sources, right? Every dollar your competitor collects comes through these 5. Like, who believes that we make money? It's very simple, right? It's like, if you realize this, you start to think about it differently, or at least I do, right? And I hope you do as well. We don't make money. We all take money from each other. It's the thing, right? You can add on by printing it, right? That's what the government, that's what people do, it's easy, but you take money from people. If people have a problem and they desire a solution, they will choose between people. So if somebody else, my competitor, makes money, I lost that money. That's how you need to view it, because that's the reality, right? Because that problem that that person wants to solve will still be there. If you can't solve somebody else's problem, they will go to your competitors to try to solve it. If they can solve it, they'll go to somebody else until it's solved, because pain, right? People tend to take any action ever as long as the pain is big, right? Big enough. And we can put this into perspective as well, like what is big pain? For some people that experience a big pain, it's worth 50 grand to solve it for them because the pain is bigger, right? Like if something is bad gonna happen to your family, you would do everything to solve that problem. Doesn't matter if it's any amount of money, any amount of this, any amount of connections, doesn't matter, you get the point. Now, you might be running one, maybe two. The operators, people making real money, run all 5. Let me name them. So one is the specific story sequence. And tomorrow I'm going to share more in depth about this, but I think it's very important to understand that this is how it works. So I posted story sequences since 2022. So since I really started my business, beginning 2023. And like, I'm sometimes trying to figure out how to explain people why you must run story sequences. In all honesty, I don't always have an answer for this. Because I feel like sometimes if I explain it to people, they do make the YouTube videos, they do run the reels, but they're not making the story sequences. They're forgetting the most important part, right? And for me, it's so important because I see why it works for me. Meaning, this is the thing. I need to understand how to translate my thoughts into somebody's brain for them to believe the same thing. If you can picture in your head why story sequences work well, you'll try it and you'll do it and you're excited to do it. But you're not now because you don't see the end destination of where it could get you, right? Because if we all know per story you make 10 grand, you would do it tomorrow, you would do it today, you would do it now. It's super simple, right? And that's my job to be able to translate that correctly. Now, talking about translation, it's like, this is also interesting. Like, an expert isn't a good mentor, right? Or a good coach. The difference is you need to understand how to translate your thoughts. So I could be very, very, very much of an expert in whatever, story sequences. If I can't translate it for you guys to understand it, that does not directly mean that I'm a good mentor or a good coach. So there are 2 different parts, like understand the actual skill and the actual level of expertise, and then understand the importance of knowing how to translate it to other people. And that translation doesn't come, or that communication, doesn't come from your own thoughts. It's getting them to understand what they need and what they want. Building a quality audience, people always say, like, how do I build a qualified audience? Doesn't come from you thinking. It comes from asking from them. Because your audience decides the quality of your brand, right? By the people that you attract and the people that you engage with. Now, story sequence is very important. Lead magnets, this is the one that I was just talking about. Get a free personalized $10 million brand game plan to sell your expertise online at scale. The reason this is important is because when we have one big lead magnet and people fill in questions, make a photo then. People fill in a lead magnet and they actually ask questions. They go to stage 1. So imagine Dan goes to stage 1, Ibrahim goes to stage 2, Conrad goes to stage 3. You get that specific pain point at that specific problem, right? And then we also have their current business situation attached to it. So, for example, we have offer, positioning, conversion, acquisition, marketing, and systems, right? I ask the same question with the amount of revenue based on the problem that they have, right? So, for example, they have a drop down with 6 answers. What are you currently struggling with? And then it's like, do you need more traffic? Traffic is, they go to the marketing side and explains everything about traffic. Do you need better conversion, more buyers? Do you need better team? They go to that side. And I reframe the question perfectly to not use that one word in that sentence, if that makes sense. Tell me.
The title, was it like framed that way on purpose in terms of like a very wide audience? You know, like you put brand, no prerequisite, and then
Exactly.
like both ends, right?
The more you build your brand, the less you start to use money and numbers. So I want to bring this to you in the right way. I use numbers a lot to build my brand. And I feel like slowly I start to go out of the evasion, the process of using numbers less. So you want to make 100 grand a month, you want to make $1 million a year, you want to make 10K per client. I don't use numbers anymore. Like, it's very important that you realize what's important to you. And I feel like if I say, for example, right, you want to build an info business. Who knows the word info business here? Almost everyone, right? This is the fun fact. I went to Claude. I said, how many people know the word info business? I think the answer, and correct me if we can do research on this after, was 200,000 people. And in my mind, like, everybody knew the word info business. Because we only speak to people that know it, right? Meaning you can never expand the people that you want to reach. And that's why you keep lying to yourself that you know certain words that people are not even aware about. So the language that you use is so important. It's so fucking crucial. Sell your expertise online. What do you think of when you sell your expertise online? You think about people that are skilled, that want to sell their expertise online. Now, that could be a doctor, right? That could be like a surgeon. That could be like a business owner. It could be a construction worker. It could be anyone. So that's the reason why you need to be very precise with the people that you do choose. Now, this is the thing about money. Every single time you share a number, it's always divided by 3 based on the people that you attract. So let's say I say, get your free personalized $10 million brand game plan. That will speak to people that are making like 1 to 3 million to 5. When you say, people don't make who has ever used the sentence or the phrase, you want to make 100 grand a month? Especially looking at LaRouche, Mark, Conrad. I've used that for a while. I attracted people and got people on calls that make like 30 to 50. So always know that it's divided by 3, right? And it could be in like any fitness niche or that's just like the scenario, that's just the situation. That's very important to understand. Did I answer your question?
Very well.
Perfect. CTA, assets. We have a recurring process right now on who saw the Mr. Nik Setting YouTube channel? Somebody saw that? Yes, okay, cool. So what we're currently doing is when you get to a certain point in business where, because this is the thing, right? Who is the feeling sometimes that you kind of already shared everything? Like you kind of already, like you've walked through the same shit multiple times. Like what else is there to share? Like there's not more to talk about for me than offers, acquisition, team, maybe creative content and offers. What else? I cannot talk about anything else. And the fun thing is people always trying to find like new things to talk about. But it's not about talking about new things. It's talking about the same things in different ways for the rest of my life. I'll be talking about the same thing for fucking 10 years, 15 years, 20, just in different ways, right? For different people to understand it. That's why some people have the same problem sometimes. And then this is the thing. If there are 2 people with the same problem, and I speak to them in a certain way, for one it will be painful, for the other one it won't. Meaning if I change my angle, for the other one it won't be painful. And then, you see what I mean? So it switches, it changes. CTA, assets. When you've done a decent amount of masterminds, like Ibrahim, for example, Amber's lectures, like whatever that is, right? You have been in groups with people, whether that's online or physically. You get to a certain point where you have shared so many different things, right, with so many different angles. And that is the point where I decide to create a second YouTube channel. Now, why is this important? The reason this is important is because sometimes views is like genuinely something that doesn't matter at all. Meaning, if you get to a certain point in business, and I got to this point with my Nik Setting YouTube channel, where things went slowly more broad. Along the way I evolved, and that's a natural process, right? I went from making like a super fucking niche like appointment setting video with all the documents and the scripts like 2 years ago to sitting with Herman and Aaron, CMO, CEO, in like a studio in Dubai, helping like a girl like improve her offer, right? That was a branding. It was one of my last videos. I don't know if people saw it. The one of the unique concepts. And the fun fact is, it's hard to go back, right, to then making a super simple Miro video, because why would I do that? It's kind of like brand diminishing, right? Like it's like you dilute your brand quality. That's the truth, right? So what is the solution for this? Who is sometimes, whether you're afraid to make content sometimes, or if you want to try, this is a very important one, nobody's afraid, most of you aren't. If you want to try something new, fucking make a second YouTube channel, because it's like, you can try, it doesn't matter if it works or not, right? If people see, it doesn't matter, you can just try everything, and it doesn't dilute the quality of your current brand. It's one of the most valuable things you can do. And this helped a lot for me, specifically, because right now we're segmenting it in two different ways. So we have two blocks, right? One is like the niche videos where I share more about like how to remove yourself from one-on-one and how to go over to group meetings. Now this is valuable for a lot of you guys. You would rather watch that video than how to make $10 million with this fucking content framework, right? You're like, okay, cool, interesting, but I need to watch that video with my specific pain points. So if you're gonna grow your brand, you keep it broad on the one channel that you've grown over time over the years. And on this other channel, I can post a video like every week. My team does that, Max helps me, and you can just post it constantly. And you have the ability to just provide value for the things that are necessary, right? So that could be, for example, like a video about, listen, how, when you're making X amount of money, how to get yourself out of the one-on-one and change the group. And a great example of this, if you want to do that, by the way, I'll give you the answer to it, so you don't have to watch the video. Currently, at the moment, if people want you for your one-on-one, what you should do to switch the group is understand one thing. People want to get to the outcome. The only reason why they constantly ask you to be involved in the one-on-one is because they see you as the only vehicle that can get them to the outcome. So to solve this problem, share your team in your content, right? Share other people in your content. Share more processes or mechanisms in your content so people can find different ways to understand the solution or the thing on how they can get to the destination. Because trust me, like as much how some people love me, right, and want to hop on a one-on-one call with Nik Setting, is all great. They don't care about the fact that they hop on a call with me. They just want to get to the fucking end destination. So realize it's not about you and about how you position yourself. Just share more things, right? Like share more things about other people, about your brand, about or any other mechanisms that you can utilize for people to have the ability to open their mind and see that there are other opportunities available. Let's say, right, you want to sell community. Super simple. Let's say you want to sell community. People are like, yeah, I don't sell community. People won't want me for my one-on-one, right? People don't buy my course. If I would launch a course right now, it would never work. Easy. If you want to sell community, show every fucking third picture, show 10 people in one shot. Show live testimonials. Show like the engagement with people. It's super simple. Like you attract, it's the fucking most simple thing on earth, right? I know, Juliana, like you have that very position very well in Claudia as well, where you have like the awards with people, right? And like all that, it's like, it's a community feeling. So people most likely never have this specific question. I only want to work with you, otherwise I don't do it. Or I do this or I do, otherwise they need to upsell and they pay a lot more money. But they know and they understand it. And that's the same with me now, right? It's like, People don't. It's same with this. One more example. I'm very excited to talk about this topic, but me and Herman had a very big problem in the past where people showed up and they told me, yo, where's Nik? Nik is not on the call. Like, I expect Nik to show up on my sales call, right? And I was like, how do we solve this problem? It's by making sure that when I make a pre-call video, me and Herman sit down together and he explains the process and I talk highly about Herman. That way, people see Herman and everybody that gets on the call, I never ever in my life got the question anymore, Nik, why are you not on the sales calls? It's super simple. Or I'll try to make it simple. Right, Christy? Good. CTA framework. Content is hard until you build systems like this. It took me only 10 hours to hire a new appointment setter. You have certain like niche, interesting topics. Everybody knows that there are certain words that you say or certain like familiarity, like how do I say that? Like things that you say that just makes people watch. So if I make a video about anything related to brand or content, it gets more views. If you go to Mr. Nik Setting and you go to the popular videos, you'll see the top 3 videos are all about content because that's what people care about most. Does that mean it's the only problem you solve? No, but the right brand differentiation is the same thing for tomorrow's topic as well. Is like you want to 20% of the time talk about and show and share things about your personality and 80% you being the expert about the specific topic that you're talking about. It's like a very good balance. Bottom of the funnel content. The best bottom of the funnel content is like content that is niched. It's content that is related to clients and experiences. It's content that is related to anything related to clients and transformations, right? Because ultimately, like, why do people pay? I'm standing in the middle of everyone. Why do people pay? The reason why people pay is because they feel that they can make the same transformation as somebody else, right? And also understand this. Imagine you're sharing like so many different things in your content around clients and community and group and environment. You will get people that value group, community, and environment, right? And who does value that? Like who values group, community? And are that younger people, older people? Is that a specific, like you can figure that out for yourself, right? Because what you share is what you get. So people ask me the question, Nick, how do I figure out messaging or positioning? Share the thing that you want. It's like that's the easiest way to position yourself in your own way and attract what you desire, right? Now, this is the thing, right? You most likely ask yourself the question, if I do change it now, people that want one-on-one in my audience will most likely not change. And the fun fact is that people listen to you because you're the authority. So when you tell them something is right, in their mind it's right. Because they're here to learn, they're here to experience something new, right? If I think the profile funnel is the method, it's like people stand against it or people like it and believe in it. Like that difference is what matters because people will never pay when there's like a neutral balance. The most powerful brands on earth are like hated and loved. So what do you do to be hated? Ask yourself that question, right? And what do you do to be loved? It's like there needs to be a perfect balance in between these things. But understand that like neutral kills all the time, right? And that's like something that won't ever get you anywhere because people start comparing you with everybody else. And like if there's one thing that matters today, it's like how can I separate myself from everybody else? How can I be different? Because it's not about having the better system. It's not about having a better fucking process. It's like when you compete on deliverables, price, or any other situation related to that, it's like a race to the bottom. It's a race to the bottom. You go down and down and down. And like this competitor charges this. No, you know what? Like everybody charges here, my competitor. I charge fucking there. Right? And we sell the best, we make the most amount of money, we're number one. Easy. Story sequences are the one that does most of the work. And you have like different elements of it. So one very big example, if you don't know how to create certain story sequences, just share like a lifestyle picture. What I'm doing recently on a mastermind, most likely yesterday, the day before, right? Because I don't have time to do them, or my team has other constraints or they want to do other things. When you don't know what to do, you can do a Q&A. Like ask people questions. Your audience wants to know more about what you do and what you value. So you can do these types of things. But the most important thing about a story sequence is you want to tell a story, right? So like a story that you can capture people in. So the one story perfectly fits with the next one and perfectly fit. So people keep that retention, right? That's super crucial. It's like people want to go through the flow and they keep that attention to you because that's exactly what matters. And if there's one thing that I can tell you that genuinely matters for people to buy, is the longer you can keep their attention, the more likely they'll ever become a customer of you. And I think that's like truly important and something that people really don't understand or don't value enough, right? It's like super, super important. So we're going to spend more time on this here. We post story sequence at least 5 times a week. Holy shit, you're super consistent. That's crazy. That's good, that's good, that's good. Yes?
Are you doing it by yourself or the team is doing it for you? Who is doing the story sequence?
You know what the most difficult thing is about story sequences, about brand? Story sequences is like the one acquisition source that is most personal. It's super personal. You can share anything on there you want, right? And you can test anything on story sequences. So you can always automate it, but it will give away that personal touch. And that personal touch is the only thing that matters because the story sequences are built for that. So what I would recommend is you find a balance between it. If you share your things about, you know, like, well, you just did, you made a story there, right? Or like a video, easy. So you know, right? You share that, you can share that. It's like click.
Sometimes I can do this a lot, but I think like my team is not, they don't understand. Yeah, that's a fucking problem.
They never. But you know why? Because it's you, like it's personal. People cannot read your mind. It's like I expect Max, my head of content creator, to read my mind in everything. It's impossible, right? So choose the balance between structured and personal. So 3 times a week you share whatever the fuck you want. And the other times you make your team create a storyline of a process that they can follow. So at least when you don't share anything, The story will be posted 4 times a week based on the technical things. And you don't spend any time on your personal things because you know you pick up your phone, you do this, yo guys, and done, click. Right? Story sequences are the highest trust content you can ever produce. Every time someone watches one, the likelihood of buying goes up. So I always see it like this. Every single time somebody watches your story, it increases the conversion potential by 1%. 100% is they'll become a customer. Meaning, if people watch 100 of your stories, they'll become a customer. So if you post a story sequence every day, and you do that for 100 days, and people watch every single one, they'll become a customer. That's the average data that we have collected from all of our brand elements and the things that we have created. The problem is, if you're not consistent with your content, what truly happens in your brand is people start to forget you. Like who has realized the importance of, who has heard that thought before of like top marketers in this world as well with like big brands like Nike. The only thing for them to do is they don't need to shift beliefs in people. They just don't need, they just need to show their logo like enough times and it needs to pop up in people's brain over and over again. So even if you feel like you're not saying something valuable, you're not doing this, just share your face, like do something to make people see you again. It's like after a certain amount of time, people get so frustrated that they're like, I gotta figure out what it is about. Like you've seen people blow up on Instagram in the past or on TikTok, right? And the reason you see them blow up and the reason you know everything about them is because every single time you scroll, after every 4th reel, you see the same person. So at a certain time, you're just like, yeah, the fuck, like, what does he do to show up on my feed like every 4th slide or every 4th scroll? When you don't post story sequences or you don't do it, it decreases the conversion potential. So the beauty about this is when you're always consistent, you can never lose. It doesn't matter when people opt in because you'll never lose, right? Because it adds on 1% every single day. For some people, it takes 20 stories. For other people, it takes 3 stories. And other people, it takes 100 stories. But if you do it every day and you're consistent with your work, you just can't lose, right? Because the profile funnel, and specifically the profile funnel with the whole content system, right, is all about the ability to constantly do certain things for long enough so people at a certain point are tired of their own problems and they just pay you to solve it for them, right? And that's why in 2026 onwards, what it will all be about. They do the heavy lifting before a sales call ever happens. They filter unqualified leads automatically. They build trust faster than any other format can. It is a dream conversion source because a pre-sold client pays faster, argues less, and stays for longer. I think I've been working with some people here for almost 2 years, and others a year, and others a couple months. Now, there are 5 types. Let me walk you through each one of them. Q&A. Q&A like makes people really want to get to understand you better, what it is all about. Now, the fun fact is that when you do a Q&A story sequence and you don't get enough questions, you can ask yourself questions on the story sequence, you can answer them. Simple, right? Because maybe there are questions that somebody wants to know. We all do this, don't lie. It's like simple. When I started and I didn't have any views on my story, I did the same thing. And the thing is, like, I just knew what to type because I could just figure out what my pain points were. And people saw that and they responded like, oh, sick, okay, you view it this way, you do it this way. It's perfect, right?
There's another question. Of course, you like take some time for this, but you're using AI for put your thoughts and like organize this for posting new stories, or you do like open stories and try to answer the question.
With stories, it's the balance, same balance. Let's say I have 8 questions.
Because it's like there are a lot of words.
Exactly. So 4 are technical and 4 are personalized. So I always split the balance on my stories, always technical and personalized. The only reason I had technical, or I wouldn't call it technical, it's more systematized, something that somebody else can do, right? Is because then I know I'm super consistent with the work that I'm doing and I can never really lose, if that makes sense, because it maintains the consistency. But with stories specifically, like you can literally ask anything, like why did I buy my Porsche in full, right? What is the process of acquisition? Paid experts use content to be able to scale, like what is the reason for this? Like it could be anything, right? Like you can talk about anything. And there's also the thing, nothing is bad to talk about. It's not bad to talk about anything. Like people don't understand that content works in their favor, but it also works in reverse. When you share the wrong things, sometimes you'll fuck it up for yourself, which is the reality. It dilutes the brand. But with stories, it's like an open playing field. You cannot really do wrong things. You open a question, right? You let your audience ask anything. And then 12 hours later, you answer the question your ISP would actually care about. And here's why this works. Questions are how the audience invites you to perform your expertise. They're not asking to be educated. They're asking to see like how you think. Like so many people are interested, not in like, oh Nick, do you specifically want to talk about X or Z or Y or whatever, right? They just want to ask like, Nick, like what is your desk setup? Like how do you wake up in the morning? What do you do the moment you wake up? There are more important questions and you should answer these because you have the time to do that in your stories, right? And that's super crucial. He runs a sales coaching offer. His Q&A questions pull more DMs than his reels do. Because it's that personal touch that gives people that last 20% for them to be like, fuck yeah, like I need that. You know what I mean? And this is the thing, you don't always know what people need, but you know they need that personal touch a lot of times, and that's the thing that's important because we miss that sometimes, all of us. Because every answer is a free consult, right? The rule is if you don't get enough questions, write your own. Nobody can see the difference. Educational sequences. An educational sequence, people always ask me this, like, what's the difference between value and education? Value is when you provide people the thing that they actually want. When it comes down to, let's say people want to hire a setter. It's like a setter doc script, a system. You provide them that. That's the value that you gave them, the thing that they want. Education is the way you change people's way of thinking. Right? When you have influence as a business owner over your audience, you can create educational content. And the way you talk matters because you can show two different sides. Tomorrow you'll see in the presentation that I always talk about two different things. One way and two way. Old way to new way. The number one, number two. It's like when you have influence over people, right? You can change their beliefs. And that level of awareness is the first step of the thing that matters into them trusting you. Because you can make them think whatever the fuck you want to make them think, right? And that's truly important. So educational is you change their way of thinking and you can explain it in any way you want. You pick one topic that your ICP cares about. You walk them through it across 6 different slides. I want to keep this topic, I have so much to talk about. I want to keep this topic for today as well, or for tomorrow as well. But it's even with the ideation process, make sure with your content, you always make something easy to follow. It needs to be simple to follow. Don't make it complicated. This is the thing, like a confused mind doesn't buy. It's like when people easily understand something, they'll want to buy and they want to know more. So it doesn't have to be complicated because who sometimes has that thought where you're like, fuck, okay, I have this to talk about, this to talk about, this to talk about. I need to package that all in one video and then make sure that that's not what's needed. It's just about simple, right? What is simple for you could be already like complicated for other people. It's same with like perfection. It's so like stupid because I've been struggling with this problem as well. It's like perfection is only in your own mind. Sometimes you're like, this is not perfect, this is not perfect. But imagine I create one reel and I don't think it's good enough. Create a second one. And I spent like 5 hours and the 13th reel I created is in my mind the perfect one. Imagine I post that reel. But for Christy, the second one was better. That one that I never posted. Then like what? You wasted time. You got what you want for yourself and not what your audience actually desires. Now, how to solve this problem? Very simple. Just post the first one. So you save yourself time because you'll never figure out. You'll never figure out. It's impossible. So that's it. Here's the part that most people get wrong. They teach the process. Your audience doesn't care about the process, right? They care about the outcome, the process, or the thing that the process produces, the outcome. Education works when the outcome is more interesting than the process. The rule is never lead with what they'll learn. Lead with what they'll walk away with, right? A credibility story sequence is something that matters as well because when you constantly share and like client results over and over again, right? You imprint a belief in people's brain that the process that you constantly show in your educational content, in your value-driven content, that it works, right? So it could be as simple as a Discord screenshot from a client that just values what you did, that just values your process and everything that you've done for them, right? You open with a result, 170K last 7 days, love the team, mastermind, just a general process about people explaining and seeing what we do. Then you have just wins across the board, sharing multiple things about things that people have experienced, like a group meeting, a client win, different client win from Alex, one of our great clients. And you close with a position. So you have made a piece of content and doubting about posting it. This is the perfect thing that I just gave you. It's about perfection. So when people see this, they'll be like, fuck, okay, that's actually interesting. This is a great example of educational content. Because when you read this, right, just read it. You're gonna be like, oh, fuck, yeah, maybe I don't have to see it that way. And the power of this is like, because you now believe something different, who is that person that made you that helped you make that change in your mind? It's me. So when I provide this to you and you get a different perspective, it's like the person that people come back for the moment they have a new problem is me, because I help them solve their prior problem. It's easy, right? This is why people always say this. It's like, how much value do I need to provide, right, in my content? Do I share this? No, not really. Like, it's not. Value isn't measured by sharing more. It's by giving people the specific thing that they need. And I think that's very important to understand. So, screenshots, client messages, Stripe dashboards. This is the one that makes people think, I want to be the next person. And here's the psychology behind it. People don't pay because of what you can do. They pay because they imagine themselves in the screenshot. Sharing 1 win is luck, 3 wins is a pattern, but 10 wins is just a proven track record that people can deny, because how can you constantly keep sharing wins, right? It gives that undeniable proof that something works. So just never fucking stop doing it. It's very important. Stack them, right? Value-driven sequence is a sequence like this, where I, for example, provide like a video of my YouTube channel, or I share how to build a bio. I can share the process. It's like a lot of different things, and I think that's important. You tell a story that contains something genuinely useful, so something that people can use to get further into the process, right? That could be anything for any specific niche, by the way, whatever that is. When you have a fitness offer, when you have a business offer, when you have anything related to marketing or sales, like anything, right? You set a scene and you build tension for that scene, so people get captured into the story. You walk them through a framework or a lesson. The goal is to show your level of thinking and to make them feel like they got something for free. This is also where most of you fall apart visually, because a value sequence with bad photos doesn't read as valuable. Like, this is the thing that I say about like visually and verbally. It's like, if you share value, right, and that value comes with certain depth, it could be anything. Could be like money, could be a little bit of money or a lot of money, right? Could be a little bit personal or very personal. It's like, what you see on the screen, does that make sense? Does that give the same effect of what you're verbally saying? Is that aligned, right? So that's the perfect word I always use. So I think it's very important to understand if that is like aligned. Very, very crucial. Imagine this. Imagine you picture my brand in your head, and the only background you have ever seen, besides any story sequence, anything, is just like white curtains. Just picture it in your head. You see what for big difference that would make? Every video, YouTube videos, is just white curtains. That's it. I can promise you that I would be in a completely different spot right now than I would be if I would share the photos that I've done right now. So that's why you can see that what you visually share matters with what you say all the fucking time. It breeds as cheap. Here's the rule I give every single client all the time. Go to a nice hotel, a lounge, order a coffee, like take fucking 50 photos, could be anything. The people you want to attract make their decisions on an aesthetic before they will make them on like something substance, like something technical, something more in depth, because it's like the first attraction point, right? You see something, you're like, yes, I want to listen to it more or not. It's like when you need a new person. It's like the first impression matters so much. That's why you need to share the right thing all the time. And I think that people don't really understand the importance of this. Now, this thing, you've seen this room, like I think this room is beautiful. It's like perfect for my brand. Does that mean it's perfect for all of you guys' brand? It doesn't have to be, right? Maybe for Amber, something else fits than for my brand. Or, you know, for Giuliano, something else fit. Meaning you need to choose and you need to understand what will fit your brand and behave yourself in that location more and more and more. Because that's what makes the brand just it, instead of trying to perform. Like, it's like, for example, I genuinely love my car, right? I love my Porsche. I genuinely love to dress the way I do. And you always see me, right, in a certain way I dress and all these things. Because I do that all the time. Like, whether I'm with friends or whether I'm alone or whether I'm... And that just builds, like, so much, like, trust. And it's like a feeling. Sometimes you meet someone, right? And you know if that person has, like, actual confidence because he's just it and he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. Or if he's performing confidence. And that difference, it's like, you don't really have a way of explaining it, right? You can't really explain it, but you just know it. You can just feel it. And based on that thought, right, you act on that in a certain way. Based on how people perform and what they do, you respond to that person in a certain way. You think about that person a certain way. That's why it matters a lot that you figure out what fits you. What I think Conrad does really well, by the way, it's like we've been working together for a year. Like, you show a lot about construction and things that you do. Like, you had a goat in your hands, right? Your client. Like, it fits your brand perfectly. You being in a suit here would be like, the fuck? You know what I mean? For me, this fits. So that's why it's very crucial, right? And I think it's very important that you share the things that are aligned with you, with what you want and what you desire. A beautiful photo is not luxury, right? It's an asset. So understand that things doesn't always have to do with any type of money. It's not like, oh, the more expensive, the better picture. Bullshit. You can share anything, right? It doesn't matter. It just needs to fit your brand and your values. The trust changes the closing rate. Lead magnet sequence. So sometimes we share things that are related to clients to get people into an email sequence. And we recently started building it, which is why Phil recently got closed, right? And one of the most important things with lead magnets, it's something evergreen that you can build that you never really have to touch, as long as you make it personalized. That will always get you new emails. I think we have like 8,000 emails or something. We have 8,000 emails. We started this 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks, 2 months ago max. So in Cape Town, the most beautiful part about all of it is that it just works, and you'll always be able to capture new attention. Like, this is what I would recommend everyone. I said in the beginning, you can't expect to grow all the fucking time, right? You can't. It's just impossible, because sometimes things don't go the way you want in life. Sometimes some things change, and like, you never know. You never know if your Instagram is going to get banned. You never know if you're going to keep your Facebook profile for all the time. Meaning you need to find as many platforms to capture your users, capture your attention on. Super important. So for an example, let's say like your meta gets blocked, right? And you don't have any profile anymore. You at least have an email list of like 200,000 people. That's insane. But you get the point, right? We'll have that in a couple of years. And even if the list is, let's say, 10,000 people, you spread the data that you have about the people that you own, your users, your audience, in many different places, right? To minimize risk. It's like an investment portfolio. You're not going to invest in one thing. You separate it over multiple things for you to have the ability to have more safety. This one is difficult. The other four end on your profile. This one ends in your email list, which means the relationship doesn't depend on the algorithm anymore, right? The CTA goes on slide 1, not slide 7, because you just want to capture as many people as possible instantly. And you have to understand that if, let's say, 20,000 people watch this story sequence, 20,000 people, I can promise you that this will most likely be like, my retention is good, so around like 17,000, right? It's like whatever, 15% drop-off rate, depending on the amount of story sequence that you have. Most of you do this backwards. You build 7 slides of value, and then you ask for the email at the end. This is the thing. You need to know when you put a CTA where. So let's say you want to get DMs. You can do 2 things. Always ask yourself the question, what is my end goal? Is it to get as many people as possible in the DMs, or is it to get the most amount of qualified people in the DMs? If it's the first one, you put it in the beginning. If it's the end one, you put it at the end, because you have a storyline, and you know for sure that the people that clicked on the CTA after the 7th story genuinely care about what you spoke about, and genuinely care about every single sequence, right? So you can follow it very easily. That's something that's crucial to understand. Like, you have you just have to put yourself in your audience shoes. If you just sit down for a day and you like put yourself into your audience shoes, like so many things start to picture itself and start to click in your mind. The reason you're confused on like what is gonna become one of my buyers, what is this, what is that, how does this work, is my positioning. It's like put yourself into your audience shoes once. Just like meditate on it and realize like, okay, I can see like this is value that I provide, this is what I do. How do other people see it, right? How do other people view it? And I think when you do that, you slowly start to understand how you can change your behavior and the way you market yourself and the things that you do. By then, 3/4 of the audience is gone. Put the offer first, then pour value into the ones who stayed. The hook formula has 3 things, right? Outcome, specificity, speed. These are the things that matter. Not, here's a PDF about content, right? Like you need to have a framework around why people should reach out and why it matters. I'll go back for people who don't make a photo. These things are very important when it comes down to getting people to reach out to what you want to do. Not here's a PDF about content. Doesn't have any depth. Like it doesn't have any depth. It's just plain, it's just simple. People don't really care, right? But the exact 12 hooks I used to make 4 million in client revenue. Yours in 30 seconds. One thing, I'm already going half into the presentation of tomorrow, but I think it's important to share. The intention that you put into something is the intention that you can expect back. So think about if you create a talking head, there are several points of attention. How hard it was to create that post, the story that you talk about, the way you edited that video. Meaning, more quality isn't the more advanced you edit. It's like the more intention you put behind something. And people appreciate intention. So you can see a video and you know exactly how much time someone put into that video, right? And that intention builds amplifiers. So if I make a specific simple talking head and I talk about something, and I add music, I make it a little bit more credible. It's like an amplifier. I give it a boost. If I edit it a little bit on the sides with Vignette, like Max does, I don't have a fucking clue how this works, but if Max does it or the team does it, you can use amplifiers to stimulate, to boost what you're doing.
And the reason Max keeps showing up in everything I teach is because most content creators don't have a Max. They don't have someone catching the visual gaps that they can't see in their own work. It's the same thing with Herman on the closing side. It's the same way with Isaiah on strategy, the same way with Lewis on the operations. Every one of them plays the same role for me. They spot exactly what I miss. They hold the standard when I'm tired. They call it out when I'm making the wrong decision. That's the actual difference between people who scale with content and people who plateau, like who stagnate multiple times. It's not the skill that you have, it's the eyes around you that you have that capitalize on the opportunity constantly, which is exactly why this July, the whole team flies out to Monaco for 5 exact days, not to lecture people at a stage, to sit next to you, to make sure that you have an honest look on your business to see what actually needs to be changed because you've been doing things wrong for years. If that's the room you want to be around, the link is in the description. Anyways, let's get back to the video.
And that is very important when you don't have credibility. That's why if I would make a talking head raw right now, just like talking, I promise you people would love to listen to it. And people that have a brand here, it would be the same thing for them. But when you don't have a brand and you don't have that credibility, it's going to be very hard for people to believe or see you as somebody different than everybody else. So know that the intention you put behind content is what you can expect back, right? It's like with everything in life, right? The intention that you put behind something is what you can expect back. So if you do everything very simple and you're like, oh, this doesn't matter, this here, that, then expect that back, right? And it's the same with fucking content. Like people ask me, Nick, why is your content good? Or why does it do that? Or why does it do this? Or maybe sometimes they're like, what? I don't like this video. Why is that the case? It's like, I always trying to figure out how to put intention behind the things that I do. And that's the reason why people can see that it works. And that's the true reason why I get that desired outcome. right? So sometimes a very simple answer is like, Nick, why does your content work? Yeah, because I fucking spent like fucking 40 hours a week on content. And if I don't do that, if I'm on vacation for a week, Max and the whole team is grinding their asses off to work on content. Like obviously I make more money and I get more conversion if you're working 10 hours a week on content, because the intention is 10x, right? The exact 12 hooks I used to make $4 million in client revenue, yours in 30 seconds. Same content, different hook, 10 times the opt-ins. This one moves them from a follower you can't reach to a lead you own. Now, you know the 5 types of story sequences: Q&A, educational, credibility, value, and the lead magnet. But knowing them isn't the work. The work is actually running them, which means you need a way to know if they're working or not, right? One number tells you drop-off rate. I don't know why I need to smile, but I think about that and about our grease. Like, you have them? Do you have like the whole? There you go.
Actually asking Claude to analyze it now.
Okay, perfect. Use everything like stacked in a Miro board, and you're thinking, yeah, fucking, this is only for nerds. Maybe a little bit. Me and Dan are nerds, so whatever. We'll do it with that. But people laugh to me sometimes about the fact that I share this, but it's like, this is intention, right? If you genuinely care about the things that you're doing, why not going in detail? Does that mean you need to spend hours and hours a week on fucking figuring out if this is 1.71 or 1? No, you don't. But if you have a general scope and you can put it all in Claude and you have an idea about what the outcome could be, you know what to do to get better, right? And this way, this is the thing. You're not trying to find the golden story sequence. You're slowly trying to understand what you need to do better, right? Because when you slowly understand what you need to do to get better, you'll have less confusion in your brain. If you always have confusion of like, what do I do? How do I position myself? How do I change my you just don't know shit about your audience and about your business you do, but not shit about your audience. That's the problem. And you can't get this all in one push, right? It goes slow. You need to learn this. Like, it's like a process, right? Meaning you just need the time for it, and you need to do this consistently to understand what to do where. And this is one of the components to it, right? And in all honesty, like, one of the reasons why we separate ourselves from all of our competitors is because we just have more data. Nobody does this fucking retarded stuff, right? Which is why it's good. Drop-off rate is the only metric that matters here. The gap between the first and last slide, views, tells you where the structure broke. And for example, for Dan, it's like a very simple structure. You can just duplicate and you can follow it, and you can let somebody else track it, like your personal assistant or your VA. If they leave on slide 2, your hook failed, right? Like, people sometimes don't understand how simple it is to create an ad or how simple it is to create a piece of content that they want to convert. Because, like, you just need to know the intention behind something. If you advertise anything, if that's a CTA in your stories or a content piece or anything, and you want to get people to follow you through the organic reel that you create, you know that the intention should be curiosity. Making content and doing everything in business becomes easy when you know the reason for it. So an appointment setter, what does an appointment setter do? It doesn't convert, it doesn't do this. It just books appointments. You know the end destination, it books appointments. The only goal you have. There's nothing more to it. So when you start to think about it like that, it becomes very easy, right? Because people start to overcomplicate, like, what is this for? It's super simple. A setter just fucking sets an appointment. That's the only thing you should care about. Now, an advertisement organically could create curiosity. If you want to get people to follow you through your content, right, the only touch point is curiosity. You want them to get to follow you. You don't want them to buy. You don't want them to, that works later in the process. That's not for now. If they leave on slide 7, your body went sideways. You don't need any other metric. Improve by 1% each time. That's what I talked about in the beginning. The structure inside, the slides, right? Every story sequence follows the same 6 steps. It's curiosity, obstacle, name what blocks them. You call out the pain, because when you call out the pain, people have their attention to you. It matters, right? Like, if you want to catch people's attention, you call them out to their pain. You don't say, hey, are you X, or are you Y, or are you doing this, or do you make X amount of money? No, call them out by their pain, right? So if I talk to anybody here and say, no, it's not. That's not a pain. That's the situation. If I say, oh, are you making 50 grand a month? That's not a pain. That's the situation. And the situation hits way less hard than the pain does. Because there is a reason of why they are there and why they don't want to be there. Statement. Back it with proof. of why certain things work. Believe, shift the frame, transition, you show the result, and trust, close from abundance. Now, after a few weeks, you won't need this, right? It becomes an instinct because it becomes very easy to understand everything automatically. The reason why people pay me is for speed. It's not that because I'm smarter than other people are. It's just like you pay for speed. You don't have to figure this all out yourself and go through the fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars I spend and the hours and hours I spend on creating shit, right? You pay me to get it now instead of in 5 years and to get the outcome faster if you take action. Now, the part everybody skips, you got the email, what do you send them? This is where 90% of the operators die. They capture the email, then they do nothing with it. And the lead goes cold in their own inbox. Who here has run email marketing before? How's it resulted, Mark?
I have a newsletter once a week. It's not bad. It converts.
What does not that mean?
It has a good open rate, 25%-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And the click-through rate is pretty hard because I put memes and stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't do CTAs yet. We're just warming
Building
up.
trust. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Where are you currently your journey? Monthly revenue, select your range, right? Get your game plan in 30 seconds. 2.5K downloads, now it's, I think 8. Your game plan to selling 10 million with your expertise. The email sequence closes what the story sequence opens. 8 to 9 emails over 14 days. Each one reframes the same idea. Email 1, deliver the lead magnet. You can make a photo of this if you want to. Use this express, like it is important sometimes. You just have to understand how to do a great introduction, how to tell people the right things. This is a screenshot without a profile picture. We have one with, so make sure you add a profile picture. Very, very important, right? It's like when you introduce yourself to someone and you have fucking a bag over your face. It's retarded, right? So make sure you have a profile picture, right? When you introduce yourself to people in the email here. Email 2, tell them the story behind it, right? A few weeks ago, me and my creative director, Max, thought about implementing a new short form content format. Now, that format has evolved into attracting almost double the qualified leads. Organic story, super organic. Now, what's the thing about emails? Emails is very like forced, right? Very corporate, very like, so the benefit and the leverage you can create for yourself is making it personalized. If you do the opposite of what everybody does, you get the best results. Same with brand. If they hate you and they love you at the same time, you'll get results. That's what matters. Email 3 through 5, like different client wins. Happy Easter. You can see here, Jay, you made 350K in like 6 months, and you shared a client result with it. Email 6 and 4, 5, 6, this is like the process about clarity, impatience, invisible. What you do is you share value, and this could be either interacted with educational or actual value that you share. Now, people are like, Nick, but fuck, I see so much text, and like, what do I do? It's the same shit as the story sequence. Like, you can just reframe it differently, and you can tell the same shit here, right? The most fun fact is, no, I'm gonna keep this for tomorrow. But the most fun fact is that the content elevates into, it's not that everything needs to be separate or new. You share the same shit, tell me.
So, do you link here the assets from the YouTube page?
Sorry?
Like, do you send value through email and direct the traffic to YouTube with the asset?
Yes, exactly. And this is the thing with like, the difference between profile content and building it with the profile funnel instead of doing normal content, you connect it like a web. Everything is a web. Emails go to YouTube. YouTube goes to call. Call goes back to confirmation. Confirmation goes back to this. They don't book in a call. Herman doesn't close them. Cool. They go in a follow-up email. Boom. Back to YouTube video. Back into a call. You see what I mean? You got to dance around it. Very important, because that way you can never lose out on attention. If you have a funnel that works linear, like step 1, step 2, step 3, where do they go after step 4 if they don't close? They go out of the pipeline, right? You build a cycle, you build a web, and that web is like truly important. So every single time you want to have a CTA at the end of anything, this is the thing, call to action. People think call to action. What do they think about? They think about selling something. You don't sell anything. It's like you want to direct people to something else. It's like directing people, if you want to call it like that, instead of fucking doing anything salesy specifically. Email 7, CTA to DM. This thing matters as well, because you can like send people to different like things. So for example, you can send people to DM, you can send people to a long form YouTube video, you can send people to reply in your story, same DM, you can send people direct to call. Like people are not intentionally aware about these things. It's like, what do I want the outcome to look like and what resonates with the situation? So if people see a 2-hour mastermind, right, they see that YouTube video very long, what do they genuinely want? What CTA is applicable to that? Like people are just like, yeah, whatever, I'll just do a call. But why? Like, imagine this. Imagine people watch a 2-hour mastermind, right? And like after that mastermind, what do they desire? Like, what's the thought that they have? Do they have questions? Right? If they have questions, are you going to let them go on a call with a lot of friction and qualify them hard? It's like, most likely it's smarter to get them to the DMs to solve these questions in the most easy and the simplest way as possible. And these are all these like small things that just could create so much more conversion that you could never ever even imagine. Imagine you like put a Calendly link into the description with 17 questions. You don't understand. Like think about it from a lead. Think about it from your perspective. You see a YouTube video you like, right? You need to click on that link. You need to go, the time zone, there needs to be the right available time from when you're available. It needs to have all these questions. Like there's so much friction to it. And you think it's easy, but you have the same when you want to buy something from somebody else. Unless you're genuinely interested, you go through the whole fucking process, right? And when you go through the whole process, then you can do a calendar link, for example, because it doesn't matter. But reduce the friction because, sometimes you just lose fucking $10, $20, $30,000 just because somebody just didn't thought about that small thing. Like make it simple, very simple and easy to understand and know what to use where. Boom. Sure. The inbox is the only place they can scroll past you. No algorithm, no feed, just you and them and the time it takes to read a sentence. This is why the email list is the most valuable asset you'll ever fucking build. Because it separates itself from all the other platforms that you're using, right? And it starts the moment your lead magnet captures the address, right? The things and your data, like your phone number. You don't get a phone number with Instagram. You don't get a phone number. And imagine like DMing someone on WhatsApp. Like it's like a 90% open rate, a 89% response rate, right? It's like insanely high all the time, which is great because when you have people's email, their phone number, maybe even their address, you can send them shit, like whatever. What we're building on right now is very interesting with Grow Acquisition because we just got the new logo, you saw the green logo. What we want to do is we want to build like a welcome package, right? They get like a little pen and like a card and like this, and that brings the personal touch. Me and the boys just talked here, and we talked about one very important thing. Is like, two things matter. It's value and the end destination, but the thing that's even more important is the experience. It's like the small things do it. Like Christy came in here today, she gave me flowers. That made me so happy. That makes me super excited. Like these small things matter so much. It's like that personal touch that people get that makes them feel safe, that makes them feel invited, that makes them feel, because that is how they become part of something, right? People always want to become part of something. People choose things, like they choose. So make that happen. And when you create that environment for them, they'll pick you above anybody else. Next conversion source, content assets. I think we already talked about this on my secondary YouTube channel. A 1-minute reel can lose anyone. There's not enough time to build trust. But a 1-minute reel can redirect the attention perfectly because it has an insane amount of comments, like 4,000 people commenting. Okay, realistically, it is included with Machi, the half of it. So it's like, 2,125 and a half is the people that actually commented. And then we send another text with like, okay, cool, you got the lead magnet, send it to you, this is what happened. And that's great because that's an insane amount of interactions, right? And that's the thing that is very crucial. And it sends it to the long form asset where people can get to know more about the right thing. Here with the YouTube video you see on the left side of me, right side of me, is not the most important thing when it comes down to views or anything like that, because the only thing that matters when it comes down to a YouTube video is that you position it well and that people get what they expected. So same as they get access to your systems or the thing that you sell, people want to have the right expectations all the time. It works the exact same with a YouTube video. The level of depth and pain is not as big and as important because they didn't pay you. right? But the thing that is truly important is the ability to understand how to set the right expectations in your content prior to it. Imagine you see a thumbnail on a YouTube video, you're like, this is completely different, right, than what you expected what the video would be about. That's expectation setting. Like, these things matter so much. Now, you can see, every reel is a question. Like, this is the thing with content, right? Content makes, the right content brings up questions in people. If your content doesn't bring up new questions, people can elevate, can improve, can like, how do I find the right English word? It's like they can grow from it, right? Because it stagnates. If people get a question, if you can make people think for themselves while making the content, and you can make them doubt about their certain things, or you can give them clarity about certain things, or you're doing the right thing. The questions need to come up in your mind. The easiest way to do this is look at your own content, let other people watch your content. It's like, how do I feel? How do I think after I saw this piece of content? The long form is the answer to it, right? Because here, people get the thing that they wanted there. And fun fact is, they already saw 15 minutes of my content so far. They saw my face like for a period of an hour, right? By clicking through everything, doing research and everything. And that improves conversion. And this is a very easy strategy. It's like very easy, right? It's like I make a reel, I send people to my long form. And when I send people to my long form, they can watch a longer version of that exact same thing. Meaning you don't have to make double content and think about everything to produce because it's efficient, easy. Now, use the long form CTA when the topic is too deep for a reel because it redirects to a long form asset. You can see onboarding, people DM me that all the time. Use the framework CTA when you have a specific deliverable they can save. So this is specific, you can do reach out in like YouTube comments, you can get people to say stories. That's basically to boost the engagement, because if we have 7,000 views and we have 200 people under a YouTube video commenting, right? What did I say in the beginning? I don't know who remembers that. People want things that do good, right? Like it's the scarcity feeling. It's like you feel like you're missing out on something when something does well. So when you know something does well and something is very engaged and works and you see other people doing it, and even people liking a post, like your friends liking a post of somebody else, you're like, fuck, like what is this? I gotta figure out, right? So the more engagement you can create, the better, because it creates that scarcity, it creates FOMO, right? The fear of missing out on something. A one-page PDF, a checklist, a script template, something they keep, something they refer back to all the time. Every time they open it, they think of you specifically. That's the asset. So for example, you can see here, Mark, like we have different testimonials and different types of assets. And this is what we have for every single client. So the example of it is, when you have a client result, it's not that you only have a YouTube video. You have a reel with someone, you have a story sequence to talk about something, you have a long form YouTube video where you can explain more things in depth about the specific process. Bottom of the funnel, all these things are related to bottom of the funnel, and I think it's very important to share that experience in different ways, which makes it just very easy to understand, okay? Client wins broken down visually, so we have a secondary grow acquisition page, this Instagram. The reason we do this is because grow acquisition is a company, Nik Setting is the brand, so we separate each from each other. And the reason this is important is because on grow acquisition, we just share value when it comes down to every single part of the process in content, clients, but also everything related to proof and credibility. Nik Setting is where the education is being shared, the value. People love me for me, and people love the product for the transformation, right? That's why I said in the beginning, if you would only have your brand, people only think that you can help them get to their end destination. If you have a business and you have proof and people preach that business and they like it, they get results with it, and you share that experience, people start to see that that experience, that transformation brings them on a specific internal journey, external journey. They start to think, right, fuck, if I follow that system, or if he did follow that system or that process through this brand, I must do the same. And like, in all honesty, info is not the best company to sell, because the valuation of an info company is not, like, depends on the situation, depends on the structure, right? But you always have the opportunity to. If I want to sell grow acquisition and people want to do offers for it, I have the ability to, because people buy or license the system, right? It's like if they keep buying into me and I remove myself out of it, I'll walk fucking away. What is going to happen? Like, people don't want it anymore because they want it for me. But if I sell the system, the profile funnel, that has proven to bring in millions and millions and millions in client results with X amount of this, with this, you can sell it if you want to at a certain point, right? That won't be a 20x same as a software, but even if it's a 2x, it's like, why not? You can do whatever you want with it. And I think that's important. Most of you have these results. You just don't post them most of the time. Or you post a screenshot with no context. Who posts like a lot of client results? A lot. Why does the rest not do that? Do you post client results?
Of course.
Do you post client? Christy? Yes? Okay, so the most interesting thing is, I talked about that just with you. I said, like, it's not about the amount of client testimonials you have, it's about how you decide to share them, right? So sometimes you'll be like, fuck, but my competitor has like 10x more client results than I have. And that person is way more bigger wins. But it's about how you share them. I can make a $5,000 payment look better and look more engaging or anything, get a better outcome from it than a $50,000 transformation with a client that you've been working with for 6 months. It's like how you share it matters so much, right? Because you can position it in a way where people feel like it matters. And the fun fact is, it all matters. It's just like how you position it and the intention you put behind the thought of positioning it. That's why sometimes you see people with just one testimonial get so many clients because that one testimonial is in line with so many different people and is marketed all over the place, right? Which is why it's so super powerful compared to these people that just make a client testimonial, hop on a quick Zoom call, post that quickly without any touch to it, intention to it, which is why it just feels robotic. And this is the thing with these results. If you have one result, you need to be intentional. The more results you get, the less intentional you can be because people project the value not on the testimonial or the transformation, but the amount. Who has maybe sometimes looked at any results of anyone? And you look at the results and you're like, you see a client testimonial channel, you see like, 50 client results. You're like, this good, should be good. You don't even watch a testimonial. You just know it's enough, and that feeling of enough is enough credibility for people to be like, yes. You're not gonna watch all these videos, right? So there's a point of change where that happens, where you feel like, fuck, you know what, like, I don't even need to look into these testimonials. It's just the credibility that you've built. It's like kind of where we're at with the company right now. Like, I don't need to show anymore that we work with clients specifically about that. It's like they know. We have X amount of clients in this niche. People know that, and we have proven that we can help them. So then it goes from intention to like systematization or more of a volume play because 95% of the people, they don't actually watch your testimonials. They just don't, right? They just see it and they believe it. A screenshot alone is just noise. A screenshot with the story is proof. The structure is 4 specific parts. Hook, so it's the result specifically. Then content, where they started and how they got into this journey. The mechanism is what they changed while they worked with you, right? Like what is the change, the pivot that you've made working with them? Invitation, so who is this actually for? And the fun fact is that you can invite people all the time without directly speaking to the things that you're talking about. So to give you a perfect reference or an example, I don't have to mention Mark's name for people to understand what he does. It's like you go into the pain points and you mention their situation, right? That's very important. So I don't have to say he's a business coach doing X, Y, Z. No, these are his pain points, and these business coaches will automatically relate with it. Understand that very well, because that's the new age of marketing. That's the most important thing. You don't name the direct thing, you name the pain points that make people think that direct thing, right? Because otherwise you're like just like everybody else. The people who pay you a year from now are watching these posts right now. Now you know the 5 assets, you know the 5 sequence types, right? Story sequence types. You know how to script them, and you maybe know how to track them. Last thing, when and how many do you post? Minimum 3 sequences a week, right? All the time you schedule it like this. I have a question for someone. This is a little bit off topic, but it's very important. It's about structuring something. It's very important. So who has calls all over the place? Like who has like, let's say like 5 calls on Monday, 3 calls on Wednesday, like 2 calls on Tuesday, like calls all over the place a little bit, right? It's like frustrating. Yeah. So the easiest way to solve this, and this is like, I think it's like, for me, it's been worth a fucking 7-figure question. I would have paid $1 million to know this a year earlier. if your schedule, there's nothing to do with story sequence, but if your schedule looks like this, right? You have all the week through, you have calls everywhere. You will never have enough brain space in between these times to genuinely think about the things that are important. So if you currently have calls all over your calendar and you spread them out, is the worst thing that can happen, because if you schedule all your sales calls and client calls on only Monday, full day, only Tuesday, full day, 9, 10 calls with 1, 2 breaks, you have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to think about the most important thing. This is like, I can promise you, this is life-changing. This is like gonna change everything for you. Because you're not gonna take any calls on these days, like absolutely zero. You have full time to think, right? And this is the thing. Every time you want to strategically think, you have like a calm down period, right? So for example, let's say you take 8 calls in a row, you're exhausted. It takes you an hour to calm down and first get in a different state of mind. You can't do that the moment you step away from your computer. So if you only give yourself maximum a half day of time, you don't have that time to recover, to get in that different state of mind, right? But if you give yourself fucking Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Wednesday you recover from the most heavy work and input. And then Thursday you start to think about different things. Because the thing that we all should care about is we should use our brain because we're founders. We shouldn't use or execute like tasks and the things that we do because we should outsource that. So understand that's like so fucking important, and nobody will see the benefit until you actually do this. So just schedule your calls on Monday and Tuesday and only take maximum amount of 20 calls on these 2 days. I know 10 is a lot per day, but you gotta hustle a little bit because it's gonna be worth the free days where you can just focus on anything else. It's like super important.
What about like coaching calls and stuff? Or just like general calls or sales calls?
Sales calls and coaching. Every call that you take, it doesn't matter. Because every call comes with a certain intention. Like it's like, you know what I mean?
But even like if your closers taking sales calls on those 2 days as well?
If you want to give your closers more, no, not really, because it's them. And this is the thing, like unless they take, let's say 40 calls a week, yes. Otherwise, it's good to, you could make times available of, for example, like mornings and afternoons and this. But this is the only problem with closing compared to clients. You can manage clients, you can tell them when they can book in a call or not. If you do that with closing, what could happen is you minimize the potential availability. And when that is already minimal, like this is the thing what I said, you can just miss out on a $20,000 payment because they wouldn't be able to schedule it on Wednesday when they want to. Right? And that's like a problem, but as a founder, it's important because this is the thing. Imagine I take my calls all over the place and I won't be able to make good content. It's not that I won't be able to make less content, it's that my setter has less lead flow. Herman has less calls, right? And then from there on, we have less sales. From there on, it's like the whole point of the driving factor, right? It goes in stages. Like, if I don't do the necessary things that I'm supposed to be doing, then what is going to happen after? Like, nobody's going to be able to do the right things. And I think this is super important. People don't see it in that way, but you need to understand and you need to have the ability to know what's most important to do within your situation. It's like if you look at yourself and you look at everybody in the company, just think, what is the highest leverage activity each person can do? For me, the highest leverage activity isn't sitting on calls for fucking 10 hours a day, right? For someone else, it's not the highest leverage activity to do X, Y, Z. Meaning if you want to scale and satisfy everybody in the team and help everybody in the team grow, you have to give each other space constantly and you have to do what's important for you to do as a founder specifically. So change this accordingly and then you'll be able to see the changes that you make because you have two like state of minds, I would call them. One is like survival state. You're constantly surviving, right? It's very difficult to get into a strategic mind when you're constantly surviving. But this is the thing. The most important thing is when you make strategic decisions, that's where the fucking needle's being moved. That's where you change. That's where you grow. That's where you think about these ideas that you would have never thought of. But if you don't give yourself that time, you'll never be able to do the right things. That's why like taking Sundays off is so important, right? And I'm very good at that. No, I'm not, but whatever. I'll try my best. But you get the point, right? Like it's like very important to take days off because you can just relax your mind into doing something else completely. And that's like super fucking crucial. Even though it's hard because sometimes when you when you're actually like excited to do something, it's like impossible to take time off. It's like genuinely impossible. So target is 5 to 7, right? This specifically with stories because it's back to that. But I feel like within a calendar, time management, I think people underestimate the importance of time management. Who has the feeling that, at least this is a feeling I have for a very long time, it's like who has the feeling that sometimes they worked a lot in a week, but they didn't actually get a lot of work done, right? So you work for 60 hours, but if you really look at the end result of the work you've done, you could have done it in 20 hours. It's like one very big interesting thing that Elon Musk said was like, if you decide you can clean your house in 30 days, you'll get it done in 30 days. But if you decide to get it done in 3 days, you get it done in 3 days. Like why waiting? There's no reason to wait to do something. If you put your mind to getting something done quick, you get it done quick, right? And people associate that with, exhausting yourself, doing this because it all needs to go fast. Waiting, procrastinating, thinking, that is exhausting. That is burning you out. Burning you out isn't working on something quick, doing that for 16 hours a day and being excited about the thing that you do. You burn out, in my opinion, or at least I burn out, the moment I do something that I'm not passionate about, that doing something for long enough that I can't do for long enough. Like that's making you exhausted. It's not the amount of work that you do. And I think that has helped me a lot into thinking and getting things done quick. But I don't like everything that I do, obviously. Like you need to do things you don't like to do. That's why we're business owners, right? We made that choice too. We made the choice of difficulty, which means one day or close it. Sounds like a lot until you realize that people will pass you or posting a story every single hour. I want to clarify that the example that I just gave you is about story sequences of when to post. But it's also about YouTube videos when to post. It's also about your time management. Like your calendar, the way you manage your time is like literally everything. It matters a lot. Not because they have more time, because they decided this is the work. Now, another question, if I scroll down your stories from this past week, how many of the 5 types would I find? The 5 types that I just explained. It's credibility, value-driven, it's Q&A, all these types. Most likely not a lot, right? The last block is, let's talk about the system, right? Here's the part you have to hear, because none of these assets work alone at all. One story sequence isn't a system. One lead magnet isn't a system. The system is what happens when all 5 run on a schedule for months. Let me show you what compounding momentum looks like. So 161 reels is what looks like this. And this is funny because it's 3 years. And it looks like a lot, but 161 reels is not a lot. It's not a lot of reels in 3 years. You can see 161 YouTube videos. So I don't know, it's funny that it's aligned, right? 161, 161. There you go. So this is what it looks like. And you know what the most fun thing is about this? If we go here, this is the first reel I ever posted with my beautiful curly hair and my pretty face, right? 3 years ago. And you see the way it evolves from the first one to developing it to next. You see just the brand growing, right? And the only reason you see this is, and the only reason everybody is smiling right now is because what I show it visually, so you start to imagine it, right? This is why that verbal and visually makes sense. Imagine I would do the same now. I posted 161 reels, and I post 160. It hits way different than doing this, right? You see the point and the importance of it? So talking back to this point, you see how everything that I did constantly elevated into the next chapter. And the most important thing is, the way you think and the things that you do and the way you do things in business matters based on the person that you are and the way you develop yourself. So the more you develop yourself, the more your brand will change in I wouldn't say the right or the wrong direction, but in a different direction. So you have to understand the things that you believe and the things that you share and the things that you do will result into this outcome. Right? That's super important. So if you decide to develop yourself in certain ways, you decide to change certain things, you'll instantly develop your brand that way. It's like you are your brand is you. There's nothing more to it. Why do people call it a personal brand? They call it a personal brand because it's the person. Nik Setting, why can I copy you? Yes, because it's not you. It doesn't work. So be unique in the way you do things because this is the thing, like ultimately at the end of the day, everybody has their own strengths and everybody thinks that there are other people better than they are. But the problem with the people that haven't got a defined personal brand is they haven't figured out who they truly are and what their strengths and benefits are. Because when you figure that out, you will be easily able to post it and people will love you for the story because it feels authentic. 161 Reels, you can kind of see like the transformation, right? Like the content that I made podcast style, then we went to more traveling, then we went to like talking heads, then here we went to the Miro videos. This is the golden age, Nik Setting Miro videos. That's where it all started. And then we went to like actual podcast. Now, who saw my, what is this? I want to use this. I want to use this thing whole time. Where is it? Oh, it doesn't work, laser. Who saw my podcast with Darren Lee? Yeah, you did? Yeah, I think a lot of people did. That podcast did so much for me, also because it was like such like a big hitter, right? It's like, well, Nik Setting shows up on a podcast. And the reason people put so much importance into Nik Setting showing up on a podcast is simply because people saw that along the way I developed my brand and they want to know the reason, right? Amber, the thought process behind why people think a certain way. We talked about it, Juliana, like Amber, just yet here in the politics. People want to know the way you think, right? And the reason people want to know the way I think is because I constantly share more about the things that I'm doing. It's like you can see that it's a brand growing over years with consistency. People want to figure out the brain behind that. And that's why it's valued so much. That's why I think the podcast got like, it got like 24,000 views or something. And in a niche market, that's so many views. And it's because people like genuinely want to know more about you. Tell me.
Do you ever hesitate?
Yes,
What do you do?
I do it. Yeah, because the only way to figure out if you're right or wrong is by doing it. And it doesn't matter if you're wrong. It's like if I hesitate and I feel like I could have done things better or wrong or right, it's like the only way I figure out is by doing it. Because it talked about it, Ibrahim just coming back, we talked about it today, it's like the biggest thing is like the pain of regret, right? Imagine I wouldn't have done it and it would have worked. It's like, fuck, it's like that's the worst thing that could have happened. So 161 Reels, but the same with the YouTube videos, right? Like you see the progress slowly into developing it into a next journey. So I spent my Miro videos here, and then I went to more testimonials. I started to travel for the first time. I started to bring other people in my content, and I started to change my brand image a little bit, where I started to put proper thumbnails on it. Then I went, you just see the way it elevates slowly. These are the newest videos specifically. And then now, the fun fact is you see this channel, but then you've seen Mr. Nik Setting, which is the other channel, which is developed in a completely different way. But I like to see it like this because you can actually see like consistency and work, and this is the biggest form of credibility because nobody can share this, almost. The more rare something is, the more valuable something is. Everybody can share a client journey, a client testimonial. This is the only thing that just can't be faked, right? Or maybe we should have called YouTube, yeah, put the date to 3 years ago. I don't think they would accept that, you know? Who has questions about this? Perfect. Now, $5.2 million in profit, that's not volume, that's 3.5 years of compounding results in consistent work.
And here's the thing about that compounding that most people miss. It didn't happen because I did more reps. It happened because at some point I stopped doing the wrong reps. 3 years of compounding doesn't mean 3 years of work. It means 3 years where eventually the work pointed in the right direction. Most founders spend 2 of these years, 2 out of the 3, pointed in the wrong thing. That's the actual compression that matters, that people don't think about. That's what the workshop in July is built for. Specifically designed to cut the pointing in the wrong direction time from years to days. And the link is in the description.
Right? Forbes, month 1, 5K average, 200K average, depending on like the view count and the importance we put to each format and each topic. And this is the way we constantly improve. The people who pass you don't post more than you. They ship the same thing every single week for 2 years. That's the unsexy part nobody fucking films. Now the dashboards, right? You don't need to track 50 different metrics. You just need 3. So the drop-off rate, the opt-in rate, and the save rate. The reason why these specifically are very important is drop-off rate, we already talked about that. Opt-in rate it shows the importance of the people that actually care about the things you're talking about, right? Opt-in, like how good is the visual and the landing page or anything that you presented? And how bad do people want it? So it's not like, okay, cool, the more opt-ins we got, the better it works and the more money we make. Yes, we do. But the most important thing is, and the thing that actually matters, is there interest in the topic? Is there interest to the topic? So for example, my brand game plan, right? I knew that it was gonna work out because I knew that that was one of the main things people wanted to know more about. But opt-ins tell you, yes, I wanna know more about this or I don't. And when people wanna know more about something, you can create a universe about that topic. You can make a YouTube video about it. You can do anything you want and you like with it. 3 numbers, that's the whole dashboard. If you can show me these 3 numbers, most likely you don't have a system, and that's the reason why you're constantly struggling into figuring out new things, right? Because like people always ask me, like, how do you find new formats? And I like that question, but I find it difficult to answer. It's just because I know exactly what works and what I should do better next time to improve. It's like, ultimately it comes down to having done things consistent for long enough to figure out what works and what doesn't. And the only difference between me and you guys and all our viewers and our clients and everyone is the level of accuracy and how good you understand your audience. Because if you understand your audience, you can build the best course in the world, you can build the best program, you can give people the best experience in everything, you can make the best content, you can do everything. Literally everything. It's the only thing that matters. And then the second thing is your desire. I want to build a billion-dollar company. Not everybody has that desire. Some people want to build a multi-billion-dollar company. Some people want to become a millionaire. Some people want to make 10,000 a month. Like, what is your end goal, right? And like, why is that your goal, truly? And I think that that's something that people figure out along the way, the moment they grow. And I think this is something you can't ever figure it out because it always changes. And that's also okay. You have a hobby. This was it.